Welcome to Training Industry's Quarterly Easing, Fall Edition 2011 podcast of the article, Essential Components for Effectively Training a Global Workforce, by Don Burberry and Richard Chappell. Global organizations are continuously looking for ways to provide employees with flexible and valuable training. But they're often faced with many obstacles, including managing training across multiple time zones and accommodating tighter travel and/or training budgets. However, sound planning strategies, as well as the optimal deployment of modern technologies, can help international organizations overcome these obstacles to assemble the best and most targeted training programs for employees, regardless of where these workers are located. Keep in mind, a solid global training program includes more than planning, technologies, and teaching. Organizations need to implement key measurement techniques to ensure that desired benefits are reinforced and leveraged across all projects and programs. This means that training participants are demonstrating the required transfer and retention of knowledge and skills. If this sounds like a tall order, that's because it can be. That said, there is a simple guideline to keep in mind to accomplish these objectives while training globally dispersed teams. Act globally, think locally. To elaborate, organizations must act globally in terms of the reach of their message. In addition, they need to think locally in making sure that message is applicable to the individual audiences served. This places emphasis on actionable takeaways that are clearly conveyed, no matter where training takes place. When executed flawlessly, training is a productivity booster and a worthwhile investment for any company, anywhere in the world. But to gain measurable ROI, the curriculum has to be aligned with broad organizational goals, while still maintaining a sense of relevance within individual workplaces and project teams. This is made all the more difficult because launching and overseeing training internationally obviously poses logistical challenges. Frankly, it's an incredibly complex undertaking. Schedules, locations, language barriers, and sensitivities to cultural differences must all be taken into account. It's also essential to combine both in-class and online training to produce a seamless integrated experience. And we can't turn a blind eye to the realities of the economy, which has accelerated initiatives for companies to get leaner. This trend greatly influences the capacity to invest time and money into training. Many employee units are stripped down, pressed for maximum output. Skill refinement becomes a low priority. That's why training leaders that can find innovative approaches to acknowledging and addressing these concerns remain highly valued at companies today. In addition, training industry leaders must identify the right course content and deliver it when it's needed and where it's wanted, ensuring the effective transfer and retention of knowledge and skills and reinforcing learned skills and behaviors after training. Think of how challenging it is, even in geographically close-knit organizations, to follow up on well-received training sessions months later to gauge whether best practices learned are being appropriately carried out. Let's face it, pressing deadlines and daily fires will emerge, and all of the initial buzz of a well-received training effort may start to wear off, and the lessons learned will fade. This is why the significance of strong reinforcement cannot be understated. Now, add the complexity of attempting to incorporate these requirements of training within a global company structure, and that's when transfer, retention, and reinforcement get much more difficult. Given this scenario, there are 5 key components to consider for a successful training structure within a global framework. 1. Flexible approaches. New training platforms, such as a hybrid version that combines in-class and online learning, can accommodate tight travel budgets and other logistical limitations. This helps execute training in a timely fashion, as priority projects shouldn't be delayed just because all company team members can't be in the same room at the same time. Face-to-face classroom instruction still dominates, accounting for 58% of all training hours consumed. But virtual training is growing rapidly. That's because tech-enhanced training programs offer participants the ability to have geographically dispersed teams train together. For example, an event facilitated from Washington, D.C. at 11 a.m. local time can be attended by someone in Seattle over their first coffee of the morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time, and another participant in London, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, who's winding down the day. When an instructor can train dispersed team members in one event at the same time with equal engagement, whether they're attending in person or online, The intended buy-in and knowledge retention is more likely to follow. 2. Quality of content. A passive approach to training in which an instructor imparts wisdom for an hour in an auditorium too often fails to deliver. For optimal results, training programs should embrace multiple sensory-based techniques: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Hands-on exercises guided by expert instructors, chat pods, Volpe audio connections, video simulations, and peer-to-peer collaboration are all proven methods to help employees understand, retain, and make the best use of course material. Also, eliminate classroom walls and create breakout groups involving both in-class and online participants. Allow them to respond to questions and share best practices no matter where they are. What works in a location in Europe may be readily transferable to sites in the US, Asia, the Middle East, and other regions. And while it may sound like a simple matter of covering fundamentals, trainers should have the ability to include translations for course content and speak the local language. 3. Trainer expertise. A trainer needs training, especially in using a variety of tactics to ensure all participants stay engaged whether they're in class or online. The trainer must learn how to initiate conversations and address all participants, including those attending virtually, by name. Then it's important to gather insightful feedback from all stakeholders, such as purchasers, course participants, and fellow training providers from all global points of focus. In the process, don't be surprised if a winning technique for one region doesn't earn uniform praise in another. Use this as a guideline to adapt future approaches that are custom-tuned to match local preferences. 4. Trainer consistency. With training budgets shrinking, it's tempting to reduce travel costs by using multiple instructors at various scattered sites. However, this tactic may significantly reduce your ROI. Training brings more measurable benefit to a company when it's consistently applied across the board. Long-term relationships should be established with training experts who have global reach and sufficient content scope to meet business strategy objectives. This kind of relationship allows for the training partner to expand offerings to mirror and best serve your company's growth. Consistency is just as important for online courses, as web-based resources and tools should be uniform regardless of the location of online participants. This makes it easier not only for the participants to retain knowledge, but also for the instructor to support quality instruction with the best tools. Without consistency, the training message may get muddled, with disparate interpretations among possibly dozens of company locations in multiple sites and countries. 5. Measuring for repeatable training qualities during the session. Ultimately, measurable outcomes are the intent here. Fortunately, there are very useful tools to quantify the impact of instruction as it is happening. These tools include polls, quizzes, and other forms of testing that can take place during the course. After sessions, organizers should employ measurement techniques that prove lasting impact. These measurements can include quantifying positive behavioral change and increased efficiency effectiveness that align with business and employee objectives. The key is to document results that establish the building blocks of repeatable success. In the end, the user-employee response to training is the ultimate barometer of such success, indicating whether training programs should serve as templates for future ones. The potential gains from these training recommendations are immense. They'll enable senior managers to create an organization without borders, one in which all employees are fully focused on a unified set of goals and best practices, no matter where in the world they work. Don Burberry is president of Learning Tree International and is based in the Washington, D.C. metro area. Richard Chappell is managing director of Learning Tree International and is based in London. Takeaways. There are 5 key components to consider for a successful training program within a global corporate framework. Flexible approaches. Evaluate and incorporate innovative training platforms, hybrid and live, online, to maximize limited travel budgets and other logistical limitations. Quality of content. Training programs should embrace multiple sensory-based techniques: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. These are proven to help learners understand, retain, and apply knowledge from training. Trainer expertise. Train the trainer. In addition to real-world experience and knowledge on their topic areas, trainers need training, especially when it comes to staying current on new training technologies, to ensure all participants stay engaged whether they're in class or online. Trainer consistency. Training brings more measurable benefit to a company when it's consistently applied across the board. Long-term relationships should be established with training experts who have global reach and sufficient content scope to meet business strategy objectives. Measuring for repeatable training qualities. Measurable outcomes are critical to the success of a training program. The key is to document results that establish the building blocks of repeatable success. For more podcasts and articles like this, visit www.trainingindustry.com. Thanks for listening. I'm John Sherlock.